Another guy who had a really good preseason, that is Zach Edey. And this was a guy who was a really, really polarizing prospect as an NBA draft prospect. Because on one hand, he was one of the best college basketball players that we've seen in a long, long time. He was a completely dominant center for Purdue. On the other hand, though, there were question marks about how his game would translate to the modern NBA. Because he's not this big Wemby center who's going to go out and take threes and handle the ball. But in terms of being a good, center, he'd be great 50 years ago, right? He'd be the number one overall pick without a doubt. But, now it's just more questionable. So we ended up going number 9 to the Memphis Grizzlies. And a lot of people felt like that was a reach. And I feel like I was higher on Zach Edey than most. Because there were circles saying that he was going to go on to do really nothing in the NBA. And I just didn't believe that. I believe that you can have questions about how he fits into the modern NBA. But to say this guy that was so dominant in college and, just in all facets of the game, in terms of what he does, he's second to none at that. So to say this guy is going to be a complete bust and amount to overall nothing in the NBA, I think, that isn't necessarily the way to go. And I didn't say he had the highest ceiling just as a result of his fit, but I did think that he was going to be a good NBA player, and I still believe that. And you don't want to overreact to preseason too much, because some guys have bad preseasons, go on to be great NBA players. Some guys have great preseasons, go on to be bust, right? But with Zach Edey, I think everything we've seen from him, right? Whether it was in college or whether it was the NBA preseason, everything we have seen from him, he has gone out there and been a bucket. He's faced criticism for his play style, criticism for his fit in the modern NBA, but whatever the case may be, when he goes out there on the basketball court, he has went out and been productive. So despite what the general opinion might be in terms of his ceiling, I think that Zach Edey can very well be a good NBA player. And his skill set, while it's not perfect for the modern NBA, he doesn't need to be the primary ball handler. They've got John Morant, for example, Marcus Smart, right? So if Edey's just able to kind of do what he does, off the bench, especially this year, I think he can without a doubt be a very good NBA player, in spite of his flaws that he catches a lot of criticism for.